Tea Time with Mr. Parrish, der Podcast mit Brian Parrish und Sören Rodenberg.
Der April, der macht, was er will. So auch wir. Wir haben uns gedacht, wir stellen unser Podcast-Konzept heute mal auf den Kopf und starten mit einem Song, den ihr normalerweise immer zum Ausklang hört. Und zwar mit Don't Forget My Name und tauchen ein in einen traditionellen Blues-Sound. Und bitte.
So long, goodbye. Someone knocking at my door. My well has run dry, and I'm not for this world anymore. That old sun is going down. Light begin to fade from the sky. I know I'm done. Oblivion. Everything that lives will surely die. I'm not proud of some things I've done. I can't change it anyhow, but I do love, precious love. My heart is overflowing now. When I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, and the world is turning just the same. Carry on, but please don't forget my name. Please don't forget my name.
Don't Forget My Name von dem neuen Brian Parrish Album Shadow Man. Somehow this piece reminds me of our favorite Bob Dylan song, It's Not Dark Yet, but It's Getting There. Although this is more a kind of a traditional blues sound in Don't Forget My Name.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. It's the subject matter. It's about, his time is coming. He knows he's, it's not dark yet, but it's getting there. It's a brilliant song. Bob Dylan is just, I could talk all night about Bob Dylan and his talent as a writer. And that's one of the great things about this song. My song, Don't Forget My Name, is definitely kind of in the blues tradition. It's not taken from any particular blues, but, a lot of blues guys have written about dying, I think because they came from a spiritual or church evangelical tradition, and then the ones who went out and played the blues, the community said, you're playing the devil's music, you're going to go to hell, you're going to, it's crap, because the all music is creative stuff, but the devil stole the music from heaven. was intended to praise God with, and he didn't want that because he wanted to be God. But as soon as I picked up this guitar, which is a metal-bodied resonator guitar, it's called a dobro, they're the people who made the guitar, you get a certain sound and a certain mood immediately, and I just went with it. They made these guitars in the 1930s, before there were any amplified guitars, and guitar players always had difficulty being heard amongst the drums and the other, the louder instruments. Suddenly there were dobros, didn't have the best sound in the world, but they were loud. But I like the sound of a dobro, I really do. So I immediately went with that, and I just had, it started out with just one chord. It's now got two chords in it, but no, I thought that's enough. It's simple. And it's, I know I'm going, but when I'm gone, the world will keep turning just the same. But don't forget my name. Now, that's not me singing. I mean, it's me singing, but it's not my view.
Yeah, you just step into another character in this song. I like
Really?
this kind of type of songs generally, yeah.
Yeah, I just went with it. I mean, normally if I'm writing a song, I kind of wait to see to the last possible moment where it's going. And then I think, okay, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Is it okay? I understand it, and then I go with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will write some text and some lyrics that will embody my feelings. This one doesn't, because Don't Forget My Name, Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. That's another song that exists already. Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. It's not really what I feel. I think when I'm gone, how will I know if people remember me? If you've got something nice to say about me, tell me now. I love it. So.
Joking with Mr. Parrish.
And I don't know, it's going to upset people. This is about the Queen Mum, the Queen Mother, who everybody loved, universally loved. But the members of the royal family were and still are patrons of many different institutions. And
Ja,
on this,
I gotta translate with sie ist eine Schirmherrin von verschiedenen Institutionen oder die Royal Family übernimmt Schirmherrschaften für Krankenhäuser oder sonstige soziale Einrichtungen zum Beispiel. Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, she was a patron of this hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital, where people have got. I understand about emotional illnesses, so please, people, I'm not making fun of anything like that. But it's for the sake of the joke. You'll see where I'm going. She comes into the garden, which is glorious, the most wonderful garden. And the Queen Mum used to love flowers and arrangements and so on. And the garden is absolutely stunning, perfectly kind of manicured and designed. And there's a guy on his knees tending to some roses. She said, "Excuse me." He said, "Yes." She said, "I'm the patron here." He said, "Oh, yes, Your Majesty." She said, "Yes." She said, "Who's responsible for this garden? It's stunning." He said, "Well, that would be me." She said, "What, everything?" He said, "Yes, that's my passion, and that's what I do. As if I wasn't here, I would love to be a professional gardener." She said, "Well, this is a work of art. It's fantastic." She said, "And how come you're here with this?" He said, "Well, I had a bit of a breakdown." He said, "I'm perfectly okay, really, but I had a bit of a breakdown. And this is therapeutic for me anyway, so I don't mind doing the garden. But of course, I'd prefer to be on the outside." She said, "Well," she said, I'm no expert in this." She said, "But perhaps you should be on the outside." She said, "I'm going to speak to the principal, and I'm going to say how much I admire the garden and how lucid and intelligent you seem to be. And I'm going to recommend that they take you out of here." He said, "Really?" She said, "Of course." He said, "That's wonderful. Thank you, thank you." So she's walking on. Suddenly, bang! A huge brick hits her on the back of the head. She turns around with blood streaming down her face. He said, "Yes, sir, you won't forget, will you?"
This is a beautiful one.
Storyteller Mr. Parrish.
From one British majesty to another one in the Netherlands, I think, Brian, a couple of days ago you told me that you have got a great story to tell about the majesty from the Netherlands, oh?
Well, yeah, it was Princess Beatrix at the time, and then later to be, of course, Queen Beatrix. Yeah, long story, and it also involves drugs, which I don't recommend. As people, be careful. There's some very funny stories. I would never want to go back to that life, not for even half an hour, not for a second. But some funny things happen, and they're funny to remember. And we were in the Netherlands with my band Badger, our band Badger, and Black Sabbath. I'm toured with them, and we were playing in a stadium there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in the hotel, and one of the interesting thing that happened, I was on the way to the sound check in the afternoon, and I met a woman in the elevator, who was Vera Lynn, very famous, much loved British singer in the wartime years. She said, "I'm doing something here tonight." And she was in the hotel, and she was doing a show she used to do shows for soldiers and so on. I mean, she was a wonderful British woman. Her daughter was with her.
Okay.
And she said, "This is my daughter." And she said it just in time, because I was about to hit on the daughter big time. Another story. So I was very polite. Very nice. Anyway, we went and did the sound check. And in those dark and terrible days, we used to do a lot of drugs. And we didn't take any. And everybody says, "Well, you're going to have no problem getting anything you want in Amsterdam. It's now legal." We said, "Really?" You know, it was all new. We said, "Really?" Yeah. So anyway, we did this sound check, and then our drummer Roy Dyke said, "Where can we get some shit?" You know. So we spoke to somebody. He said, "I'll show you from our coffee shops." He said, "Come with me." So Roy went off, you know, pockets full of money, hoping he'd come back with a pockets full of drugs. Anyway, that evening we're in a hotel, one of the hotel rooms, all together, smoking the last of our stuff, and then Roy comes in, knocks on the door, and he's in his underpants, and he's got a bag full of hash and stuff like this. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, I was in Amsterdam. He said, "I bought all this stuff." He said, "When I was coming out of the shop, I was tapped on the shoulder, and it was a policeman." He said, and I thought, "Oh no, that's it. It's all over. I knew this was a mistake." The police said, "Can you empty your pockets?" So he got out all the stuff and laid it on 20 different bits of stuff on the wall. And the police said, "What about, how much did you pay for that?" He said, "Oh, that's red Lebanese." The doctor, the cop said, "I know what it is. Just how much did you pay for it?" He said, "Oh, that was 20 guilders." There were no euros then.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, what about that?" He said, "Oh, that's Afghan." He said, "That cost me also 10 guilders." He said, "Yep, okay. And this over here, tie sticks." He said, "I've got 5 of them. They were 4 guilders each." So that's, and to the end of the policeman said, "Okay." He said, "Just put them back in your pocket and have a nice day." Huh? Roy said, "What?" He said, "What did you stop me for?" He said, "Well, it's a really new experiment here to make it legal to buy this stuff." And he said, "But it has to be controlled." And he said, "We want to know, make sure that you're not being, you know, ripped off for the money."
Yeah, okay.
I said, "Oh, thanks, man. Thank you." So he came back. So he's in the hotel room, and he's telling us this story, and we were all just eyes, you know, and mouths wide open. And we started to smoke up this stuff, and it was incredibly strong, you know. Eventually, somebody said, "Look, we haven't got time to go to a restaurant. If we want to eat, we need to do it here, and then go to the gig."
Yeah,
So
okay.
we went down. We got to the elevator. We pressed for the elevator.
But he dressed now because...
No. This is the point.
Okay.
He's standing there in his underpants and a big joint in one hand. He said, and he was going to come with us. We said, Roy, you can't. This is like fine. You can't do that. You got to go and put some clothes on. He said, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. So we went down, and when I went back down, there were soldiers everywhere, in uniform and everything else. We couldn't work out what they were all doing there. It was actually VE Day. It was the celebration of the end of the war for the Allies and everything else. We didn't know that there, and that's what Vera Lynn was doing there. And when we went to eat, 10 minutes later, soup, main course. No, after half an hour, we're thinking, where's Roy? Where is he? You know, so eventually we said, we better go and pay. We better pay and go and get Roy. So we went to where the elevator was, and there's a red carpet there, and the band started up. And all these soldiers were standing to attention. We got the British, I think it was the Prime Minister was there, and all of these people. And they start to play, God Save the Queen. Da, 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 da. So everybody's standing to attention, and we were kind of discreetly at the back ringing for the elevator, And in the middle of it all is Princess Beatrix.
Yes.
Right, who was there on the behalf of the Netherlands to meet, the British dignitaries. Anyway, they get to the end of the national anthem. Da, 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 da. Bang! And there's a silence, and then I heard ding! And the lift doors open, the elevator, and there's Roy in his underpants with a joint in his hand. And he looked at me and he said, I can't find my fucking room, man. And the Princess Beatrix, everybody was just there was total silence. I mean, it was just disbelief, I said, right, look behind me, look what's going on. He saw all the soldiers, the band, the dignitaries, the politicians. He thought, oh, forget it. And he pressed the button and the elevator went up again.
Yeah, with a very, very special guest.
You couldn't make it up.
Tea Time with Mr. Parrish, der Podcast mit Brian Parrish und Sören Rodenberg.
In der nächsten Episode von Tea Time with Mr. Parrish werde ich mich aus dem Spanienurlaub melden und wir machen eine Videofolge mit einem ganz besonderen Titel, der ein Tribut ist zu den Noir-Filmen.
Ja, Film Noir. Film schwarz, natürlich, aber das war ein französischer Genre. Gangsterfilms mostly.
Genau, und wir wollen wissen, wie sich das anhört in der nächsten Folge, sind ganz gespannt. Bis dahin, macht's gut.
Thanks for listening, and I'll give you my bank account number in a minute. You know where to send the money.